We have just completed round five, and congratulations, you have made it 5 rounds. How are you feeling?
Nervous. I feel nervous and good. And, it's at that point in the game where you're like, I'm either completely off and just sticking around by the skin of my teeth, or you're onto something. And, which category do you belong to? You don't know. So I felt really good about the last round, this past round. And then this one will be, I think, my biggest test yet. If I can survive this next quiz, then I feel like I'm solidly locked into the right person. So
Okay.
we'll
Do
see.
you, do you regret not trying to get that final exemption?
No, not at all. I was truthful in saying that, I want my test answers and scores to kind of speak for themselves. And, I would like to make it to the end, but at the end of the day, I don't want to make it to the end and have the wrong person, which I've seen happen before for people. And so I need to be sure of myself, and I need everything to make sense. And for that to everything to make sense, I need no one to have that exemption, including myself. So I do firmly stand by that.
So when you do your quizzes, what has been your approach or strategy each round?
Speed, of course, but also misleading and misguiding others. That's kind of what I do on the lives, and then like in between if I speak or socialize to people. And then and yeah, and just kind of know what I know. Really don't do those quizzes haphazardly. Study up, anticipate the questions that could potentially be asked, and know where you're going with that question. So that's my approach. You know hopefully I feel like hopefully I'm the only one going all in on the right person. So I don't know.
So at this point in the game, you've answered Chell, Tiffany, and Tina as people that you felt were the mole. Do you feel you're on the right track right now, or is there still sort of iffy with who you think it could be?
I do. It's Tina. It's Chell. I thought because of made up. I thought it was a possibility, but I was splitting, and part of split like that with Chell's answer and with Tiffany's, those were just splitting. I was like, oh, I don't have a question for Tiffany yet. Okay, let's put one there. You know, as I have been with Heather, I've been splitting on. I mean, early on, I was splitting on Jessica. It's I just have to see what makes sense, and to me, it's I go back to questions like the blurred background. Well, that question came about, and the only person who had that blurred background on the was Monday for no reason. Tina had a blurred background, and then didn't have one on Tuesday, and then that's the only person who's changed at all. So I was like, that makes sense that she was maybe instructed to have that blurred background for that day, as well as some of the other questions just make sense that it would be Tina. So for me, what I anticipate is for this next quiz is that there'll be oh God, I haven't even taken the quiz yet, and I hope it's there, but you've made it, so you can't change it now. But I anticipate that there'll be a question about, did the mole take their hat off at any point? Tina's the only person who took their hat off. This thing was killing me. I was dying to take my hat off, but I'm like, I can't, because if I take my hat off and people are suspicious of me, they will get it right because they'll be scoring for me and Tina. I can't have them have it right. So I need to keep my hat on. I was going to ask everyone to take their hat off at one point just to see if there's anything under it. And then when Tina took her hat off after round one, I know the round and everything. And I was like, this is yet another question that I anticipate being on there. And it would only apply to Tina. And I feel like Tina was instructed or came up together with you to do that. So I hope no one else is on to these little things, but it only makes sense. As well, process of elimination. Jessica hasn't done anything to sabotage anything at all, which sure you could be the mole, but that's not the element of the game. And Jessica's a player, and I feel like Jess would want to sabotage in certain rounds, not in others, things like that. So I it just doesn't make sense. Heather on paper has, but nothing of late and just little bits here and there, not nothing and then the other thing is Heather contacted me for the first time, um which is such a player move to do right now, because she would have no reason to contact me. We've had no one-on-ones the entire game unless she was a player. She's either looking for information, she wants to suss me out, or she's trying to mislead me, which is all player moves. There's no reason she should contact me if she was the actual mole. So that's lowered her even more so on my little radar there. And Tiffany would be a good, like, little sabotage here or there kind of mole, but again, it's not enough for me. And there's been a couple rounds that Tiffany has, like this last round, she's locked into the correct answer. She said, I'm sticking with that lead pipe. I really feel like it's that. I provided two options. And she was like, this is what we're doing. There was another round before where Tiffany has like let us, and the mole could be doing that, losing some, winning some, but she really hasn't just cost us anything yet. And then the other rounds where she's pushed us for the win, pushed us to increase the player pot, it just doesn't make sense. But I could see her being the mole. Whereas with Tina, come on, there's been that puzzle round where she volunteered in the first half of the game. She was volunteering where her position was every step of the way. She took forever doing that puzzle. I'm not buying the performances that she's doing on a live, saying that I made her uncomfortable because of some comment that like her and someone else made about Clue, and then I called them out on that before we knew it was Clue. And I just think that was a pure coincidence because Tina didn't say it. She was just the receiving end of it. She was just like, they mentioned her hat looked like Clue or something. And so I just wanted to see how she was going to react to that. And she reacted how I think the mole would react. So everything I've anticipated for Tina, I go into these live nights like knowing what I'm going to do, how I'm going to play it, who I'm going to talk to, who I'm going to set up. And it just has to be Tina. And if it's not, wow, and it might not be, and I question it, and I'm like, gosh, I can't let Heather get in my head because she's made me question it a little bit, but I'd rather go out without someone tricking me in my own kind of tunnel vision for Tina than I would switching my answers or even splitting, because for all I know, the girls could all be together, I'm the last guy standing, and they could be like, let's trick Jonathan because he's going to win at the end, he's too smart or something like that, because these are some of the things I've heard. That's my answer. Long,
Okay.
but there you go.
No, good. And you probably answered some of this, but I'll let you just restate.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is the most moliest thing that you think that you've caught in a challenge?
In a challenge, um, um, I would say the most obvious thing for me was just the puzzle thing to not make sense. You said the only thing you're good at is a puzzle, Tina, and then she asked to do the harder puzzle over Brandon's easier puzzle, and then took like 13 minutes. I think she really lucked into the fact that everyone did so poorly, but that to me was the most moliest thing in a challenge. And outside of the challenges, like I said, it's really just kind of to read in between the lines and seeing and picking up on like mole messages and stuff like that.
Okay. The last question was, what's the most moldiest thing you've caught outside of a challenge? So, other than a challenge, but
And
there
it
you
would
go.
be the blurred background, and hopefully this quiz has the hat situation. If the mole took off their hat is what I would anticipate, but if it doesn't, I'm still locked in on Tina. I went all in on Tina, minus a couple questions I have to guess on, but I'm still locked in all on Tina. And then I can just hope that it's Tina. And if it's not, and people are splitting, then guess what? I'm going home. If someone's going all in on the wrong person, maybe I'll be quicker. But yeah, if I'm out and I get it, then it's not her. But if I stay in this round, then I'm 100% that it's her. So
Okay. Perfect. That's great. Thank you.